to heat up your frozen dinners, grab your TV tray, and settle in for another episode of the Plus Platoon, your podcast for all things Disney Plus, brought to you by Disney Plus fans. Watch along with us every week as we cover all the new, the old, the good, and the bad on Disney Plus. So put down that remote, don't touch that dial, and welcome your fabulous Plus Platoon host.
Hello, my name is Peter, and I am a member of the Plus Platoon. We are a Disney Plus fan podcast that gives honest, spoiler-filled reviews of movies and shows on Disney Plus. We look at new releases, coming attractions, and we even go back into the vault to revisit some of the Disney classics that are on the platform. Make sure you are subscribed to us so you will never miss a moment. And I want to introduce the other members of the Plus Platoon, starting with Rebecca.
Hi everyone.
Hey, Rebecca, how's it going?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Yeah, I'm doing really good. We got some fun things to talk about tonight because we got the finale of the Winter Soldier and Falcon and the Winter Soldier to talk about. But let's get everybody else on here. Sam is up next. Sam, you joining us? Oh, Sam's on mute.
I'm here. Sorry, technical difficulties. Hi, everyone. I'm super excited to be here to talk about the finale tonight. It's going to be a good one.
It's going to be fun. And next we have Derek joining us as well.
Hey, guys.
Hey, Derek.
Hey, Derek.
How you guys doing?
I know you're probably happy that the show's over, but you're willing to talk to us about it.
Yeah, we'll get into it. But we got to get my sister in here.
She's a fan?
Yeah. Well, no, my sister that's coming.
Your sister that's coming. Your sister from another mister?
Sister from another mister.
Come on, Kate.
Oh, wait, no,
our favorite moon fan.
Yeah, on the moon. You guys, I'm on the bottom row. I'm never on the bottom row. What is happening?
I'm on the top row. I'm on the top row. Me and Peter are on
mixed
the top
everybody
row.
up a little bit. Yeah.
I'm always front and center.
You
That's
are always front and center.
All right. But again, our big topic tonight is the Falcon and the Winter Soldier. I got my shield on tonight. But before we get into that, Rebecca, you're going to give us a little update on what news is coming to Disney Plus?
Yes, so this week, coming to Disney Plus, we have the second installment of Avengers Assembled. This is going to be the making of Falcon and Winter Soldier. Now, I loved watching the making of the WandaVision, which was their first episode of this, so I'm really looking forward to seeing how they did all of these fight scenes and all of the other different stuff that happened in Falcon and Winter Soldier. We also have a new animated short called 22 versus Earth. This is a short that is tied to the movie Soul. If you remember, 22 was that little character that was played by Tina Fey. So this is going to be probably her story, her versus Earth. Really looking forward to that as well. And then also on May the 4th, we are going to be getting Star Wars Bad Batch, which is another animated show that comes after Clone Wars. And it's basically just about a group of clones that each have a special skill. So I'm really looking forward to that as well. I'm not much of a Star Wars fan, but I know we have a lot of Disney people that are Star Wars fans, so that'll be really awesome to see that as well.
All right. Thanks, Rebecca. So with that, we're going to get into the one and only topic for tonight, and that is the finale and the whole season we'll be talking about of Falcon and the Winter Soldier. And anyone watching, please leave your comments. We will eventually get to them. We want to hear from you as well, because there's the five of us, and then there's some people out there giving us their opinion. So we want to hear a little bit of everything. But the first thing we're going to talk about, we're going to talk about, what did you like about the show? What soared for you? And we're going to start with, I think, Sam. Let's start with Sam.
Woohoo! Well, the first thing that soared, you guys, was Sam, right? I mean, he was soaring, like literally, he was soaring in his new pair of wings on his new suit, right? So we talked about this last week, if you recall, and this was a prediction that most of us had, which was that the Wakandans were going to give Sam a new outfit, a new uniform, and that it was likely to include a pair of wings rather than just being a pair of wings. And that's exactly what happened. I loved it. I love that he finally assumed the true role of Captain America. I think it was, long coming. They've been preparing for this not just all season, but even from the last couple of movies as well, preparing for him to take over this role. And to me, honestly, the series soared in general. I loved it. I loved the way they head on dealt with the racial issues that Sam faced. They dealt with Isaiah's past and parallels to real life things that have happened, the way governments have treated Black people and experimented on Black people and not given any sort of recognition to Black people who have honorably served their country. So I thought this was an amazing episode, amazing season in dealing with those issues really head on. The other thing I have to say that soared for me was the bromance. The bromance that finally blossomed between Sam and Bucky. I've been waiting for this, for a couple of movies now, and now this whole series. And it finally, the last couple of episodes, you saw that bromance developing. But finally, in this episode, you see this amazing male friendship between these two individuals who lost essentially their common best friend, and now they are now best friends. So I loved it. Derek, what soared for you?
Other than now it's over. No, I will say this to me was the best 45 minutes of the whole show. This was the last 45 minutes of a Marvel movie. So for me, that worked. It tied up the Flag Smasher story fairly well. Left some, but it also did the whole Marvel, there's characters going in different directions to different movies and different shows that are coming up. I did love I'm Captain America. I thought he was on the moon. That made me think of this one over here. So, overall, I would say it was probably for me the most enjoyable of them. So, Kate, what are your thoughts?
So I thought this one was the most predictable.
Mm-hmm.
And when it was okay, well, no, we're talking about good things right now. I did enjoy it. Sam, you nailed it. Sam won. He has quickly become one of my favorite Avengers, and I think that that's kind of what they were trying to do with this. Also, I'm just madly in love with Bucky, so he's just so handsome. It had some twists, a little bit of a twist that I wasn't expecting. Ed, no, Kate. Sorry, Ed, but Cap is still on the moon. In case anyone was wondering, Cap is still on the moon. And that was actually one of my favorite lines that my friend Ryan told me. It was you need to just go and watch the first 3 minutes before you watch the whole thing. And the gentleman who's I thought he was on the moon. Made me laugh out loud. But I loved how at the very beginning of the episode, he said, "Who are you?" And he said, "I'm Captain America." And it wasn't a question. There wasn't hesitancy behind it. I'm really excited to see where it will go. So up to you, Pete.
I think Derek's holding his breath on something. You got something, Derek, you want to say?
Oh, I was just going to say the contrast between he says, "I'm Captain America," and I'm John Walker, Captain America. And so just that contrast I thought was interesting. So,
yeah.
Pete?
I agree. I pretty much agree with what Sam said. Everything to do with everything to do with Sam was great. I thought overall in the entire show for the most part, but especially in this last episode, it was great that they didn't waste any more time making him Captain America. He came into that episode and he was the new Cap. And, the way he talked to the members of the GRC after saving the day, I really liked that. What he did for Isaiah Bradley, just everything with that character, I really enjoyed. And I did, for the most part, enjoy Bucky's through line of the series. I kind of like that he wrapped things up with his therapist in a way. It did seem a little bit short, some of that stuff, but overall I really liked what they did with those two characters. So that was definitely the highlight for me. And I agree it was kind of predictable, but the whole series was not very far out for a Marvel movie. So finally, Rebecca, what do you think?
In terms of what soared, for me, not a lot. And I know I have been so gung-ho about this whole show the entire time. Like, oh, the finale is going to be so amazing. There's going to be so many things. And I was so disappointed and let down. And I'll get to that more as we go on. But for me, what I did think was amazing about the show, and Sam and Kate, you guys both touched on it. Sam's speech at the end was so moving and monumental. I praise people who have a voice that use it to their advantage for change and for good. And I really also enjoyed all of the setup for all the future shows, Derek, that you kind of touched on. They have a possible Thunderbolts being brought back. There's also the Young Avengers that were being introduced into the show. Yeah. Obviously, Captain America 4 and just other different things that they've set up really well, because I do think that this show kind of ended in all aspects except for, the setup with Val and Captain or Walker, USA and then obviously Sharon Carter with the end credits episode. So those two things were the only ones that were kind of left unsaid. So I am happy that we're kind of going in a direction at some point and not just wherever we wanted to. But that was really it. I really couldn't say anything else that was more that soared for me. So yeah.
All right. Any comments from our listeners? Let's see. Gina, who is now our producer. Yay, Gina.
Yay, Gina.
She loved that Sam is Captain America. Did you notice the change in the title? I heard about this, but I did not actually catch it myself. But at the end, it did say Captain America and the Winter Soldier, which is very cool. If they do bring it back for a second season, maybe we'll have, we'll have that as the title. But is Bucky still the Winter Soldier? I don't know.
So that is
we'll get there. We'll get there.
Yeah.
Look at what Glenn said, because he touched on it well. He says at the end of his comment, "Why is there no love for Bucky's redemption arc?"
Right. Changing the title in the outro was an amazing touch, but it was sad it wasn't changed to Captain America and Bucky Barnes.
No, and White Wolf. It should be actually Captain America and White Wolf, not in Bucky
I don't
Barnes.
think he's there yet. But we'll get there. Guys, we're going to get there. Okay.
And then Ryan says, I'm just thankful they didn't miss the opportunity to bring back the on the moon joke. Yeah, I enjoyed that too. It's definitely been a running joke on this show. So
last time we'll see her sign. So
I like Ed's comment here, which is, what's going on with Kate and Rebecca? They must have been replaced by the Kree. I'm with you, Ed. They must know the scroll. Sorry, Glenn, the scroll, Ed. Yeah, so they must have been replaced by the bad guys, because I'm not understanding where they're coming from either. I'm not joining Team Derek. I'm strictly Team Sam and Bucky.
Derek, it's hilarious to me that you think that I am not going to.
That's the last time I'm going to see this. Yeah,
right here, and I will show it in every single episode, but some way. No,
even if we're talking about Peter Pan next week.
All right. So we talked about what soared. Let's talk about what didn't work so well, what blew up, and we're going to start with Rebecca, because I think she's got a few things to say.
So I was so disappointed, and I mean by so many things in this episode, not necessarily the acting. It wasn't, the way that they wrote the show. It was just how everything ended. I'm disappointed that Sharon Carter was the power broker. Like, very. Not against women in power, but literally just against how simple and how easy it was for them to just give that to her. We had talked about it like 3 episodes ago, and it to me was like, there's no way that that's going to be the way that they just release this big, huge villain who's now in control of everything. I was really upset about that. I'm really upset that that Carly died. And the way that she died by someone who she used to work for, to me, the whole Flag Smashers thing just kind of really fell to pieces. And I think it mostly had to do with how they had to rewrite the show because of what it was originally supposed to be about. I'm also disappointed that we just all kind of forgave John Walker for being a murderer in the middle of the street, that he kind of had a 180 twist with a full redemption of like, no, you get to be this person that helps Bucky and Sam, and then we're all going to forgive you and it's going to be amazing. And so for me, I really have like this list of like, it could just go on and on. I'm sure there's things that I'm forgetting that I wasn't too happy with, but for me, those are just the top ones that I just didn't like how the ending of each of those stories went. So Sam, what are you thinking?
So I'm going to have to say that I respectfully disagree with you on almost everything. But that's okay. That's what the point of the show is, right? We all have different opinions. I do think they could have done a better job with the power broker storyline with, with Sharon being the power broker. That was obviously something that I agreed with Kate way back at, I think, episode 1, that Sharon was likely to be the power broker. I thought that was a good twist. I liked it, but I do think they could have developed it a little bit more. There could have been more, just a little bit more background as to that. The thing I would say I wouldn't even say, I don't know if I'd say it blew up, but it wasn't my favorite, was I don't think they've really developed the Val character enough for us to care about her and what role she's going to play with US Agent. So that's my one pet peeve. I feel like they introduced her a little too late and she had such a minor role, and she's going to have a bigger role like in the future, but I don't know. I just feel like they could have done more there. With regard to US Agent, with Kroger Cap, I didn't mind that. I mean, I don't think he's fully redeemed. I think he's got a long way to go to be fully redeemed. I think we're just seeing the start of his redemption. And so that wasn't as big of a deal to me. But yeah, I would say I didn't think too much badly, except I really thought the end of the show, the title should have been Captain America and the White Wolf. That's what I wanted at the very end when we saw that Captain America and the Winter Soldier. I didn't think that was good enough. So, yeah. Derek, what about you?
The good news, it was the best 45 minutes. The bad news, it was instead of being the last 45 minutes of a 2.5-hour movie, it was the last 45 minutes of a 4.5-hour movie. And to me, which it really emphasized how slow and meandering the first 5 episodes were. I didn't think Carly needed to die. I think that her character taking that super dark turn and getting ready to shoot Sam, I think they did it just to get rid of the character, to show she can't show up later. That's my only reason that I can think of them doing it. To me, changing the title at the end seemed cheesy. I mean, I get why they did it. I'm just not sure that it was necessarily needed, especially if they're going to try and go for a season 2, which I've heard there's a shot at. I will say I loved what Sam had to say, but while he was talking, all I could think of was...
He starts monologuing.
Uh-oh. Starts monologue from The Incredibles. He starts monologuing. That's all I could think of because I mean, he was monologuing. And I said, I love what he had to say. It could have been written so much better. And then at least we haven't seen any capes, although Ed did have an issue with some of the other Avengers, but we haven't seen any capes in this series. So what didn't work for you, Kate?
First of all, I love the fact that you just threw an Incredibles quote in there, because one of my favorite quotes is when he says, "We look like bad guys, incompetent bad guys." I loved the monologue. Did it go on a while? Yes. But did I sit there riveted and say, "Oh my gosh, like we need this in our world in real life. Like we need this in our world in real life." The Carly arc, I think deep down I had such high hopes for her becoming a good guy. And for her, like that one world, one people. I think it might have been Rebecca, it might have been you who said this, or Sam, it might have been you, I can't remember, last week, that, you know, the Flag Smashers, it's kind of like communism. It's good in theory. What they're saying is good in theory. And I wanted her, because I was drawn to her character. I was drawn to her story. I was drawn to her, that actress. Like, she did such a great job. And then she just died. And I was like, wait, what? Like, wait, no. Like, but like, and I also, now I'm going to throw myself a little bit under the bus when I say this, that there are times when Kate gets very distracted when she watches television shows. And so I may or may not have missed the intro to this, but I did not, when Sharon was all like, oh yeah, you used to work for me. And the Carly was like, oh no. I got very confused. And granted, I think that's like right when they were showing that she was the power broker.
Yeah.
I had a moment of like, okay, wait, pause it. Okay, wait, rewind it. Wait, what? Like, wait. So the whole Carly arc, and Rebecca, I agree with you 100% that Walker just got off. Like, I'm sorry, he just brutally murdered someone with the Captain America shield in the streets. People got it on video. Like, and now we're just like, we're not going to talk about this. Like, I know he had his title stripped and everything, but it was just like, so he's a good guy now. And I'll be honest, I didn't know a lot about US Agent, so I had to kind of go and do some research. But it just surprised me that all of a sudden we're just like, we're just gonna like sweep that like brutal murder under the rug and just like not talk about it. So I don't know. It was the whole Carly arc and then the Walker part that was just like, so Pete.
So
up to you.
I'm with you. I thought they kind of brushed off the they spent 4 episodes making us really dislike John Walker, and then all of a sudden, oh, he's okay. He decided to save the people instead of fighting, so he's okay now. And no, he isn't. And I agree with you on the I guess I want to talk about the power broker thing a little bit, even though everybody's talked about that. They set it up in a way that it was very obvious that they were setting her up to be the power broker, while at the same time laying down some clues that made it not make sense at all. The biggest one being she wants the super soldier serum. So what does she do? She leads Zemo, Sam, and Bucky right to the guy that makes the super soldier serum, hires a bunch of people to kill them, then defeats those people herself while Sam, Bucky, and Zemo are in there killing the guy that makes the superhero, the super soldier serum. She's not a very good power broker. If that was her, like if she had some plan there that was supposed to work, it clearly didn't work. And that's the one part that I was like, well, she can't be the power broker because this didn't make any sense. But then they laid all these really super obvious hints that she was. So it was like, okay, you guys were talking about it last week. And I don't know. I just didn't like that whole storyline. And to have to have Peggy Carter's niece be a bad guy, I don't like that either. So
I'm with you on that point.
So
Pete.
overall on this, overall in the series, there's like some parts that are good, some parts that are bad. And I feel like Derek said, like if you took this series and trimmed it down from 5 hours to like a 2.5 hour movie, I think you'd make something that's a lot of fun. I have to say also the big battle at the end was like the least exciting action scene in the entire series. So yeah, the final fight didn't even come close comparing to the opening of the entire show with Sam going after the helicopter. I thought by doing it at night, like a lot of the fighting, I couldn't even see who was fighting who. And the same thing with Sam battling the helicopter, so to speak. It was repetitive of the beginning, but it wasn't as good as the beginning. So yeah, I don't know. What do some of the other folks think? Gina says the whole story was predictable. That was the blow up. Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
It was pretty predictable. Ed sees I see the 4.5 hour span as a strength. There are so many movies where I wish they could expand on the characters and action more. I
But
will
not if there's
say,
no story.
I will say
I
again,
disagree with
if
you
it's
on
thin.
that we wouldn't have gotten Sam's story in a movie. So that was definitely a plus. I wish some of the other stories were better written, though, I guess. I kind of actually liked the John Walker story until the end, where they kind of sort of redeemed him at the last minute. But I was enjoying that like, hey, here's what can go wrong with the Captain America.
Mm-hmm.
And I think they shouldn't have redeemed him at the end. I think they should have, like, I don't know, not even had him in that final fight. You know,
Yeah.
I think it would have been better to leave him alone. Tom Ellison says Carly had to go. She ended up enjoying killing more and more. I do think that was the point of that character, was again like anti-Sam, that Sam and her really had kind of the same beliefs, but Sam went down the path of we have to work together to solve these problems, and she went down the path of we have to kill the other people to solve the problems. And so in the end, they made her, by the last episode, she could not be redeemed. And so
I think she still could have in the last episode. There was a point I still think she could have been redeemed when she was fighting Sam. If she had stopped fighting Sam, that was a moment she could have been still redeemed. Yes, she would have gone to the raft for life, but she still could have been redeemed.
Right.
Yeah.
That's kind of how I totally agree with you on that, Derek. That's kind of how I feel about both Carly and John Walker. I do think, I'm not saying that they redeem themselves for one good act, right? I think they start themselves on the path towards redemption when they do, when they have the choice to do the right thing or the wrong thing, and then they choose to do the right thing. So for example, Walker helping to try and rescue those people and, help fight the bad guys. So I think he's on his path to redemption. He's not there yet. I kind of wish they had given Carly a storyline to be on the path as well.
Had they not highlighted so much of John Walker's murder in the street, I probably would agree with you. But because they made it such a turning point of like, okay, this guy is like not fit for the job. He's the reason, like what Pete was saying, that this is the negative side of having someone have super soldier serum. When it gets into the wrong hands, this can happen. And then they just literally completely forgot about it. Like it felt like almost like he did do one nice thing. And so now he's maybe not completely redeemed. Like people are still like iffy about him, but nobody is really like doing anything about it anymore. So and same thing with Carly. If they had not highlighted her story so much and she just died, I'd be like, okay, but she was literally leading this revolt against the government and against the people that were trying to stop her and the oppression that she felt she was feeling and all of this stuff. Like, had they not made it such a big deal for the entire series, I may agree with the fact that, okay, the way that things ended was fine, but because they were such huge turning points, I couldn't just overlook them.
I agree. I wanted to bring up one thing that also made me scratch my head and go, wait, what? Is the whole Zemo twist at the end of like the like people like one world, one people, dead. Oh, Zemo did it. Like if someone could explain to me why that was necessary.
Because his goal was to eliminate all people,
all super soldiers.
All the super soldiers, yeah.
And the people in the thing were still super soldiers, and that's why his butler blew up the van.
Got it.
Yeah.
But he is still.
Now, how he managed to know that they were going to capture the super soldiers and put them in that van, that was pretty impressive. But
yeah, well, remember his butler did it.
The butler did it.
Yeah, the butler did it. So,
and along the lines of people being redeemed and not redeemed. Okay, Bucky killed how many people? All these people have killed how many people? And Sharon couldn't get a pardon. That's just one of those.
That's a good point. I hadn't thought about that.
It's all these people killed all these people, and everything's fine and great and wonderful. And Sharon does the stuff that she does, and she's the one that there's no way she can possibly get a pardon, so it turns her rogue. Really?
Yeah, all she did was give them their stuff. But okay, let's check on a few more people here. Glenn, I'm beginning to wonder if weekly releases are not good for these Marvel shows. With so much time to think, I find myself over-analyzing, over-hoping, and then being let down by my own hype train.
That's a really good point. It's a good point.
I think I disagree with that, though. I'm much more like, this is me personally. I'm not a huge binger in terms of like wanting to watch 6 episodes of a show at once. I mean, I'll watch like 2 episodes or 3 episodes of something, but I would rather, the exception being some comedies, I'll watch more, but something like this, I'm actually enjoying it more watching it every week. And plus, like, what would it do for our show here? We've been talking about the show for 6 weeks. So I think we should keep going with the one at a time. I don't know. What does everybody else think?
I wonder if it's going to make a difference since we have the break until Loki. Because this came in immediately after WandaVision. So now that we've got a month break until Loki starts, I wonder if it wasn't just WandaVision, then right into this made it too much.
Yeah.
Well, and
I think
I would say with a show like WandaVision, you can absolutely make that into a 6-7 part show. It was set up for that. This style, this type that is so action packed, and I feel like every week we've said, oh man, like it's good. It's really good, but it could have been a 2.5 hour movie. It's good, but I don't feel like we ever said that about WandaVision. So if they're going to do it'll be interesting to see how they do Loki. If they're going to do a series, which is great, it needs to be almost like more WandaVision-y, where it's totally different, but there's little Easter eggs. Rebecca, what?
I agree with you on that. I think the thing that made WandaVision so powerful as a weekly release was that at the end of every episode, something had changed or gotten better. It was one overarching story throughout the whole thing, but they left you with one cliffhanger that you had to focus on and really drive home and really think about and analyze, versus this series had so many pivots just coming off, so many things that I agree that you really could have made this whole thing into a 2.5 hour movie and probably would have gotten the same amount of conversation as a 6-part show.
Yeah, if it wasn't a weekly release, the conversation, I'm guessing, probably wouldn't be as much. Yeah, I was going to say, looking ahead to Loki, my hope is that they go more WandaVision, where like each episode's one of the timelines he has to fix.
Yeah, that'll be interesting. I think the premise of Loki looks really kind of amazing, and so it could be really cool the way they would break that up. I'll be honest, I liked this as a weekly series. I liked it at 4.5 hours. I would have watched another 4.5 hours though if they had gone into more depth with these characters, because I loved the series. I wanted more fist bumping Zemo. You know, I would have watched more of Sharon. I would have watched, honestly, I loved the series. But to me it was more like the movies. WandaVision was a much more unique experience. I loved WandaVision as well, but WandaVision was so unique and so creative. And for me, this was more political and also more of your more standard or typical Marvel movie type of, action-packed movie. But I loved both. So I can enjoy both formats, and I can enjoy it broken up into 6 weeks, or I can enjoy it 4 hours binging or 6 hours binging. I don't care. Give it to me. Give me more Marvel Universe. Give me more.
I want to bring up Jess's comment. One more comment here. She mentioned, trying to get it up. I totally forgot how Carly died until Kate mentioned it. I think I was too busy rolling my eyes to see it happen.
Jess, we're like
here.
Thank you. We're right here.
It literally seemed so weird. I think the only thing that would have made it like, okay, that makes sense was if John Walker would have been the one to kill her. Kind of this revenge for his friends. He's killed other flag smashers. Now he's still like, he has this vendetta against these types of people and stuff. That to me would have been the only thing that felt, okay, that's a little more grounded and that makes a little bit more sense.
Yeah, and it would feel more in John Walker's character too, right?
Yeah, exactly.
To me, the only way Sharon gets to be the power broker, or gets to sort of that reveal works is because she kills Carly, right? Because Carly's the only one in that opportunity who could rat her out to Sam and Bucky, and Sam would know that Carly wasn't lying about something like that. So to me, it worked in the context. Could they have done it a different way? Absolutely. But I didn't think it was a bad way to end Carly's story. I just, it was one of many different ways they could have ended Carly's story.
Zemo also knows that she's the power broker, though. They had mentioned in the first couple of episodes that he had meetings with them. He knows who they are. And then now kind of doesn't even, and if the person who they had went to kill knew that she was the power broker, has works for her, then why wouldn't he had said something? Like, I don't know. It really just did seem to me forced, and it
felt very forced. All right,
I didn't see that Zemo clip. I have to rewatch that because I don't recall that moment that you're talking about, Rebecca, but I may have missed it. So
it's in one of the passings, like they're just talking about stuff, and he had mentioned the power. I think it was in the episode where they went to the bar.
When they went to the bar, that's right. Yeah,
yeah.
So real quick, we're gonna go through each of the characters and see. Let's talk about what's next for these characters. If we think we're gonna see more of them, or if they're just going to kind of fade away into the background of the Marvel universe. And so real quick, Sam. He's the most obvious one. He's Captain America now. I don't know how we don't see him in movies. There's already rumor that they're writing a script for Captain America 4. So, anyone disagree?
No, I totally agree.
We're going to see another series first?
I think we see the movie and then maybe another series. And the only reason I think maybe another series is because of how Disney's putting this in the Emmys. They put it in the Emmys as a series, not a special release. So now that may just be to get more awards over, so it's not competing against WandaVision. But no, it was confirmed. I think it was confirmed Friday that they are writing a script for Captain America 4, and it will feature Sam.
Yeah, I mean, I don't see how they wouldn't capitalize on this, right? They've done all of this investment in making us want to see more of Sam and loving him as Captain America. So he has to get his own movie. I mean, he might have another season of Captain America and the Winter Soldier or the White Wolf or whatever, but he's going to get his own movie as Captain America. No question to me.
Yeah. There's a lot of disagreement on this series, but let me ask the group, anyone here not like Sam as Captain America?
Okay. I love Sam as Rebecca. I love Sam as Captain America. And I think I said this last week. I struggle to understand why it is so important that we replace Captain America. I love Sam. I am so glad that we have a black man as Captain America, and I am so glad that was the Falcon. I love it. But where I struggle to, are they going to make a new Iron Man? Is there going to be another Iron Man come up? And I am honest, I am not super, super well versed in the Marvel universe. Do I love it? Yes. Do I know as much as Rebecca? Absolutely not. So
part of the reason the line in the comics is there is always a Captain America. There is in the Young Avengers, there is a young Iron Man. There is, so they do. This whole replacing thing.
Yeah,
it's a Marvel thing. Yeah, I think it's a comic book thing, frankly, not just a Marvel thing. But I think really you need a Captain America because you need a leader, right? And so in the Avengers, we've had really two leaders, and we're Tony Stark and Steve Rogers are the two leaders of the Avengers, depending upon which movie. And, Civil War, obviously, they're the two different factions. So I think we need a new leader. And so I think Sam I guess he could have been the new leader as the Falcon, but I think it sort of taking the mantle as Captain America is a more powerful statement to be that new leader. So that's why I think I don't know that we need a replacement for Iron Man or one of the other characters. We might get one, but yeah, I agree with Ryan. Only rebrand of characters. I'm okay with the Sam becoming Cap. No new Iron Man. Yeah, I don't think we need all these, replacements. I think, except for Cap, I think this is the right thing to do.
I think it would really make the death of Iron Man kind of minute if they were to just replace him. We don't know what happened to Steve Rogers technically, but
Kate knows he's on the moon.
He hasn't died. He hasn't lived this horrible, and so I would think that it would really, really just eliminate the powerful effect that Iron Man's death had if they were replacing everybody regardless. So.
Mm-hmm.
But they're bringing back a Black Widow movie. So never let it be said that Disney doesn't appreciate, a movie that can make money.
Absolutely. So Brian, my other half of the DCL duo, is saying Captain America 4, Dark Side of the Moon.
Yeah.
Brian and I are like this. Brian and I, we are one mind.
All right, Kate, I'm going to get you away from that. What do you think about Bucky? Where's Bucky going from here? Are we going to see more Bucky?
So I've thought about this a lot since I knew that this was going to be something that was asked. I don't know. I do think we are going to see more of Bucky. I agree with what you all said in the beginning that I wish that the final thing had said Captain America and the White Wolf, because he isn't the Winter Soldier anymore. That we saw that he was released from that. I do think we're going to see him again. I don't know what it's going to look like. I really hope that he is going to be more of a peaceful character as opposed to this sucks, let's just blow everything up. But yeah, I don't know. I am intrigued to hear your all's opinions.
Do we maybe see him in Black Panther 2?
Yes.
Oh, yes.
He goes to Black Panther 2, back to Wakanda, and fully becomes White Wolf and Black Panther 2. I think that's where the White Wolf comes in.
That would be a cool twist. I think that I like Derek's idea, so I'm going to piggyback on Derek's idea because I want that to happen. But I also want him to be in Captain America 4, Dark Side of the Moon, as the sidekick, as Captain America's sidekick. So I want this bromance to continue. That's what I want to see. So I'm okay with him having a separate movie in Wakanda. That's cool. But then he needs to come back and be Falcon. Sorry, not Falcon now. Be the new Captain America, Sam's sidekick.
Yeah, and Tom agrees. Bucky goes back to Wakanda. Ryan says, "Have no idea what the White Wolf is, though," which is fair. Probably why they didn't reband him at the same time because the casuals have no idea. Rebecca,
that's what I was just going to agree and bring up what Ryan said. We only have seen a couple clips of him even in Wakanda, and then with the scene that they had of him at the beginning of the episode last week, and so I think for him to become the White Wolf, we would need to see a backstory of what he went through to try to get there in the first place. So that was the only thing I was going to say, is that I agree with Ryan on that if he is going to be in this new episode, then I would like to see a semi-origin of how that even came to be in the first place. So
yeah, so Ed says
it's just making us laugh.
Yeah. Ed says he becomes the White Wolf and howls up at Captain America, apparently on the moon. And Willie says I don't think he will be in Black Panther 2, but will be in the Wakanda Disney Plus show. That's a possibility too.
That's fair.
That's a possibility.
Because there is one coming, so that is fair.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And Tom also says it might be part of a future series of Wakanda. Mm-hmm. All right, let's move on to U.S. Agent and by relation there, Elaine/Valve. What do you think, Derek?
Okay. So, quote unquote, things are about to get weird. I think it sets up the Thunderbolts, which is a team of anti-heroes. I know there is a Secret Invasion series coming, which is where the Skrulls come in, and the Thunderbolts are the ones that rise up against them. I think that's the big. I think that's the big thing that's coming. Initially they fight for their own reasons, but become become the good guys. They end up fighting alongside the Avengers. I think at the moment, Val's working with Nick Fury while he's up in space, not on the moon, but Nick Fury up in the space station. But I think it's the Thunderbolts.
Yeah,
I don't know anything about the Thunderbolts. It doesn't sound like they're anything like the Thundercats.
This is where I was going to say. This is where I feel at a disadvantage because I haven't read the comics, and so I don't know all of these like little tiny like the pre-teen Avengers or whatever it was, and like the White Wolf. Like I don't know any of those, so and I would love to learn. So if anyone would like to help me learn, I would like it. But like I've never heard of the Thunderbolts, so and I don't know how to trust. Again, Julia Louis-Dreyfus is hilarious, but I don't even really know that much about U.S. Agent. Is U.S. Agent going to be good? Is U.S. Agent going to get bad? How can I cheer for him when I watched him brutally murder someone with Captain America's? But I mean, I forgave Bucky. He
did brutally murder a bad guy.
Right.
Just as a reminder.
Yeah, I'm kind of on Derek's train on this one. I feel like he was moving his hand like so, right? So he's gonna be kind of a good guy, but kind of not fully a good guy, and that's gonna be his sort of future. And eventually he will be a good guy. But again, he's at the very beginning stages of his redemption story. So it's gonna take a long time for him to get to full superhero strength, I'll call it.
That's fair.
Yeah, so the Thunderbolts are under the founding members of Baron Zemo. So Zemo actually in the comics is in charge of and creates the Thunderbolts. And so I think that he's going to probably work with Val and US Agent to kind of create exactly what Derek said. But that's that connection there, is that Zemo also is in charge and is the leader of the Thunderbolts too. So that's
Marvel does a lot of things playing long games, and I could very much see this as even like a Phase 5 thing, right? where they kind of create these characters that are not the heroes, but I guess I think like for those that watch movies, Suicide Squad, right? The people that are normally thought of as bad guys but are brought together for a cause, and the cause is enough that they'll work together, even though they don't want to, or something like that. Yeah. I don't know. We'll see. All right.
Real quick.
And then let's move on to what?
I would say the whole, U.S. Agent, he is very much a do whatever he has to, no matter what, no matter how he does it, no matter the methods. And he feels like Deadpool. He's an anti-hero. He's whatever it takes. I'm going to get the job done. I don't care who I have to kill. I don't care who I have to betray.
See, and I've never seen Deadpool.
Oh, you got to see Deadpool. Oh, Deadpool's really good. Have you seen the X-Men movies? Oh, okay. So a couple of those are on Disney Plus now.
Hi, I'm Kate, and I'm not very cultured, so I'll work on it.
There's a lot of X-Men movies. So, but you could see Deadpool 1 and Deadpool 2 separately, and they're separate enough storyline. You don't have to have seen the other X-Men movies, but there's a lot of really good X-Men movies out there. And not, like I said, not all of them are on Disney Plus, but there are a couple of the really good ones on there.
Perfect.
All right. Getting back to this series.
Sorry.
And Rebecca, what about Sharon? What do you think we're going to see from Sharon? Because I got to imagine she's coming back somewhere, right?
She's probably, I can imagine Secret Invasion. I can imagine Captain America 4. I can imagine the Wakanda series. I really think that her character could become anything, and I think that that's probably the only thing that I'm really looking forward to. Obviously, she's been talking to this person on the phone twice now. We've seen her in the series and then in a post-credit scene talking to someone on the phone. I had my doubts that the person she was talking to was the power broker. Glenn made a comment earlier around 9:15, if you want to try and find it, that says, "News today from the director, who hinted that there is more to the story of the power broker than meets the eye. He couldn't elaborate, but I'm thinking Skrull / Secret Invasion stuff, and Marvel I trust." And I am very thankful for that, because the character of the power broker to me just seems super underdeveloped. So I'm excited to see if they really do dive more into it. I don't think she's working alone. We obviously know that she has someone who she may speak to, she may work for. But I'm excited to see her in any type of future series coming up, and hopefully, obviously, Captain America 4. So,
yeah. I'm with you on her. Well, she could be involved in a bunch of different stuff, but I primarily think she's going to be the villain in Captain America 4. That's what I would like to see, and that's my main prediction. But I agree, we could see her even before then.
I think she's a Skrull. I think she is not just working with them. I think she is a Skrull.
So then she's not really Peggy Carter's.
No, she's not really Peggy.
Ooh.
No, she's not really who she is. No.
I think we've seen way too many people, important people, become Skrulls. I think that it was fun.
So
it was
why
fun.
would you stop now?
Because it was super fun in the beginning, but now it's lost its oomph.
Isn't that what Secret Invasion is all about? That
Yeah.
the government's been
It's the
taken over by the Skrulls or something like
Yes.
that. I'm not a super comic book person, but
And the Skrulls, and there's a series coming. The Skrulls invade Earth secretly. I think Peggy Carter is one of them. I think she's the first step to that series.
Sharon Carter.
Sharon Carter,
yeah.
sorry. Peggy too, who knows, but Sharon. Kate, any thoughts?
I called this from the beginning.
Yes, you did.
From the beginning. And if I remember correctly, all of you were like, no, Kate, that's not a thing. And I was like, okay. Because I'm usually really bad at making predictions. I think, who was it that had the comment earlier about that there was more, that the directors, there was more to meet the eye?
It was Glenn.
Yeah, Glenn and I were like this tonight. I'm like this with a lot of people tonight. I think that's right. I think there is more that meets the eye. As Rebecca said, whoever she's on the phone with, what if she's on the phone with Nick Fury? Like, because we know Nick Fury's out there. So I think Marvel is setting themselves up for some really good stuff. And I think we are going to watch the next Black Panther movie and Loki and all this stuff. And then we're going to be like, oh my God, go back and watch Falcon and Winter Soldier. They totally showed us what was happening and we couldn't see it. You know what I mean? And Marvel's so good at that. So I just think it will be interesting. I think Sharon is a big part of that.
Yeah, Willie says, I don't think she's a Skrull. You want to pop that up, Gina, with Willie's comment? Skrull wouldn't need the mask she had to get her past security. I will say there's a lot of inconsistencies in the whole Sharon / power broker thing. So I wouldn't put it past them being inconsistent there too. But it is a good point. Glenn is on Team Derek on this one. If you read the comics or watch Earth's Mightiest Heroes, the Skrull invasion is super confusing in a great way. Yeah, I mean, supposedly, I said, I just picture like a bunch of characters are taken over and we don't know which ones are real and all that kind of stuff. I'm not sure I like the idea, but
the green people at the end of WandaVision.
Oh, okay.
And also Captain Marvel.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, I'm there with you now. Got it.
Yeah. The shapeshifter guys. All right. Do we have any others we want to talk about in terms of what's next? Zemo, maybe?
Yeah.
Sam, you got anything?
Yeah. Well, actually, so Zemo and Torres are kind of the other two characters that we haven't talked about. So I'll just kind of mention them briefly. But I like Derek's prediction about Zemo, so I'm going to jump on that bandwagon that he's going to be involved in the Thunderbolts.
Mm-hmm.
I will say that I did not have that prediction prior to today. I'm totally just feeling that right now. But I do have a prediction about Torres, right? Torres got Falcon's old wings, right? So Torres is going to be the new Falcon. I really think so. I mean, I might be in Captain America 4. It might be in one of a series prior to that. I don't know when it's going to happen, but he's going to be an important character. He's going to be part of the Avengers. And I do think he's going to have wings. He might not be called Falcon. He might have a different name. I don't know. He could be called Falcon, but I'm looking forward to him. I actually really liked that actor I thought he was from the first episode of the series, he was in it. I think he would be a great addition. So I think Derek's on board with me.
I am on board with you. And in the comics, he does become the Falcon.
There you go.
He does become the next Falcon. We know especially when Sam said, keep the wings. I don't need them anymore. That's the total setup.
Yep.
I think the Young Avengers are coming. They are definitely coming. I've seen reports of both of Wanda's kids in the Doctor Strange movie. I know Isaiah Maxwell's grandson or nephew or whatever, whoever he was, I don't remember, is in the Young Avengers. I think that's Phase 5 is going to be the Young Avengers. I think Phase 4 is going to be mostly the Skrull and the Thunderbolts. I think Phase 5 is going to be Young Avengers, and so I think that's where it's going. Yeah, Kate, anyone we haven't mentioned yet?
Well, so I put I put more thought into Zemo because Zemo is so hellbent at eliminating all super soldiers. And correct me if I'm wrong, but there are still 2 super soldiers left.
Yes.
Walker and Bucky. Was there anyone else that I'm missing?
Not that we know of.
Those are the only ones we know about.
Okay. So I will not be surprised if somewhere down the line, even though Zemo is held by the Wakandans, I will not be surprised if somehow Zemo gets out and if there is a movie of him trying to eliminate Walker and Bucky. Because he was so hellbent on eliminating all super soldiers. That was, again, I'm really bad at making predictions because I'm like, he's really on the moon, and I actually believe that. So that just seems logical to me that is a storyline that they could take. But then again, I could be wrong.
Let me say one thing, and then I'll go to Rebecca. The only thing I would say is that not every minor character is going to become a major player.
Yes. Yeah.
in these Marvel movies. There's too many other characters in other shows and movies. I think characters like Torres, that's a little Easter egg to say, they gave him the wings, and he, in the comic books, he became Falcon. Okay. I don't think he's going to show up again. That's my opinion. But Rebecca, what did you?
I think if Torres does show up again, it's going to be in one of those kickoff series that just kind of shows up. You won't see him in any of the major movies that are coming. He may be speaked about or talked about in passing, but I don't think that he's going to be, like you said, a major part in the movies. As far as Zemo is concerned, Kate, I kind of like where you're going with it, but I think that he's going to use the Thunderbolts to maybe try to do that. I think that he's going to be more of a background character with Val and creating the Thunderbolts and stuff like that to kind of achieve the plan that you're talking about. But as far as Torres is concerned, I really don't. I'm with Pete. I don't really think that he's going to become anything major than just a little kickoff series.
All right, so one last question. We're running kind of long, but I wanted to ask the team, overall 6-episode series, not just the last episode, whole series. We do our 0 out of 5 cups of pixie dust. How do you rate the series on a scale from 1 to 5? Start with Rebecca.
I would rate the entire series 3.5 cups of pixie dust out of 5.
Okay, Sam? You're muted, maybe.
Sorry, I'm torn between 4 and 4.5, to be honest. So, I loved this series. I can't. It's hard for. I can't give anything a 5 because you could always do better in one storyline or another. So I'm going to give it a 4 1/4. Derek.
2.
Oh, Derek.
He doesn't like anything Marvel.
Oh.
As a non-Marvel guy, it's a 2. I would rather watch WandaVision every day of the week.
I'll agree with that.
Okay.
3.75. 3.75 because I like.
You're gonna make me do a lot of math here.
It was good. It was good, but in ways it was kind of predictable. And I know Ed's gonna be like, "No, Kate." And I just, WandaVision set the bar so high for me. And I know Derek, Derek, I know agrees with me on this. So it's somewhere between a 3 and a 4, but it like leans a little bit more toward a 4, which is why I said 3.75. But
All
Mighty Ducks is still a 5.
We should have just done a 1 out of 10 if people were gonna nitpick like this. But I'm gonna say I'm gonna give it a 3 out of 5. I think it reminded me of an average Marvel movie. And if this is the and a dragged out average Marvel movie, I enjoyed it. I'm glad I watched it. I don't think I'm going to go back to it at any point, really. Other than maybe a recap version of it. But unless I went through just to watch the action sequences. But overall, 3 out of 5. I wouldn't rate it super high myself. So that's where we're at. I think that's the end of the episode. So that gives us an average of about a 3.5. It looks like the team rated it. So,
yeah.
And last thing we want to mention is what's in the next episode. Derek, you're going to cover that?
Yeah, we are going back to the vault next week. It is going to be the original 1953 animated Peter Pan. We're going to think of a wonderful thought. We're going to fly to Neverland and, look at it through 2021 eyes. What works? Because there's some stuff that works. What doesn't hold up? We'll be reviewing this Disney classic and would love for you guys to join in on the fun.
Yeah. Hey, and
awesome. And let's also, Sam's got an update on DCL Duo. They got something big coming tomorrow.
Yeah, you guys. So for all of our Plus Platoon fans, I want to let you know that Brian and I at the DCL Duo tomorrow are going to be hosting a live show on our YouTube channel. That's youtube.com/DCL Duo. And we are going to be talking at 10 a.m. Eastern. I'm sorry, 10 a.m. Pacific, 1 p.m. Eastern about the Wish announcement. There's going to be live Wish announcement tomorrow at 8 a.m. from Disney. And we'll be talking about it at 10 a.m. Pacific and 1 p.m. Eastern. So please join us at DCL Duo, either at our Facebook page or on our YouTube channel, and hear from us as well as the DCL podcast, our co-host for that show.
Awesome. Yeah, looking forward to that because a new ship. When's the last time we had a new ship? It's been a long time, you guys. Long time, right? This is really cool. Yeah, my goodness, it's been so many years. It's crazy. And especially there hasn't been much to talk about with cruising for the last year, has there?
No, it's been very sad. It's been a very sad 13 months when cruising shut down most of cruising shut down in March of 2020, although some ships that were out actually at sea shut down a little bit later. So yeah, it's been a year without cruising. We're looking forward to the big announcements about the Wish tomorrow from Disney, and then we'll be talking about it just a little bit later. Super fun.
All right. So that's it for this episode. Thank you for joining us. And we will be back next week where we will be going back into the vault and talking about Peter Pan, the animated version from 1952. 3.
It's an old movie. I forgot how old this movie is.
So close. It's even older than I am.
It's quite a bit older than you.
All right,
good night, everyone.
Thanks for joining us. Good night.
Bye.
Thanks for watching this week's episode of the Plus Platoon. Be sure to subscribe to the Plus Platoon podcast to keep getting great content each week. Then head over to Apple Podcast and leave those 5-star reviews as they help make the Plus Platoon visible to even more Disney Plus fans. Also, go to YouTube and like and subscribe to the Plus Platoon channel, where you can watch all future episodes live. If you have a question for the Plus Platoon, please send us an email to plusplatoon@gmail.com or connect with us on Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram @plusplatoon.
The Plus Platoon is a Disney Plus fan podcast and is not affiliated with the Walt Disney Company or the Disney Plus streaming service. All opinions expressed on the show are solely those of the individual hosts and in no way reflect the views of the Walt Disney Company.
Thanks for watching, and be sure to stay tuned for next week's episode because the Plus Platoon is to be continued.